We are going to be installing this system here. It's a CIS, Continuous Ink System. Sometimes they're described as a CISS, and off the top of my head I don't remember why, but this is the third one that I own from this specific brand. I will put a link in the description below. So let me just take this out and show you kind of what to expect. I purchased mine from eBay. They do have a website as well. It comes with the screwdriver and the ink cartridge, or the ink reservoir. And one of the reasons why I like this one is, get it out so it's not making so much noise, is that these tanks are very large. They last quite a while. But as you can see, and they're totally clear. Some of them are opaque, so you can't really see except for maybe a small line. And I don't always think, what are my ink levels doing? And so I want, you know, if I glance over at it to see that it's low rather than remember to check. So it comes with that. It comes with all of these things here. Let me just dump these out. These are like breathers. These just kind of keep because these have to be unplugged. We'll go through all that. So you use those. This here, there's a few different types that you'll use to place this so it stays up and out of the way. And then they give you this here to siphon, if you need to, the ink through the system. I didn't have to on the others. So hopefully we won't have that as a problem. So I'll put all this aside for now. Oh, also one of the best features of this specific brand. Now there may be others that are good. I don't know, because I tried this and I was very happy with it. So some of these CIS systems require you to remove the cartridges and push the chip resetter to each one, and I did not want to do that. They have two different models, one that doesn't have this button right here, if you can see. So if you're printing and then the computer or the chips inside here say, oh, the reservoir is low, you're running out of ink, it will stop mid-print. And so I was losing a lot of media and time. So this one, all you have to do is push the ink button. It'll go through its process and then expect you to change the ink. You push this button for about 3 or 4 seconds, let go, push the ink button again, and it carries on where it left off on the print. Others require you to turn off the printer, turn it back on, but this for me is the best. It doesn't interrupt my current print job. It picks up exactly where it left off, and then when you look at the finished product, it looks perfect. So we'll go through the installation process now. Now you want to have your printer plugged in, and so we'll go ahead and turn it on. Okay, so it's giving us an indicator light that in fact the ink cartridges are low, and I learned the hard way last time that you really should have some gloves on when you do this, unless you want your hands rainbow stained for days on end. So we will go ahead and put the gloves on now. Push the ink button, and then it's going to tell us which cartridges need to replace. We are going to be replacing all of them. So what we're going to do now, instead of using the power button, I'm shaking my camera there, I just unplugged the printer. And if you'll notice, we are able to slide this carriage around whichever way we want. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take out all of the ink cartridges. And I will say, well, this guy never, I picked this printer up used for $25, and I like the 6-color ink cartridges. But anyway, you can recycle these at Office Max or Office Depot and they pay you, this is I think $10 of store credit or more for an empty cartridge. So you just take it in and give it to them. You can do, I think, $20 a month or something like that, up to that level. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to be placing this inside. So the first thing, we'll get this over here. The first thing we need to remember is that we want this to go under here. And we've got this door in the way. This door needs to come off so that we can feed this inside the printer. They're all kind of different. Some of them have a little tab that you push off. I'm looking at this and it looks like this comes up. It's kind of loose here, so we'll just kind of experiment here. There we go. So they all have kind of a tab here. And so now that comes off just like that. And I have a little broken piece of plastic. You don't want to get anything down in there. So what we're going to do is push this shuttle over, put in the ink, and just, you know, take your time here. Because you want to make sure that all of these are seated properly. Okay, so we're going to make sure each one clicks in. Okay. Now, the next part here, this is very important. You don't want this ink reservoir to be above the level of, as I just raised it up, above the level of the actual print head and cartridges here. What that will do is, just like if you siphon water from a fish tank, it will push and force the ink out of the print head and you will have a giant mess and this whole thing will empty. So when you're storing this, just pushing these down, making sure they're all set properly. When you have this, you know, nearby, you just want to make sure that it's on the same level as the printer. You don't want to go above it at all. So the next thing I want to point out is, let me slide this over. I'll zoom in here. Okay, so there's little channels. I don't want to hold it up, but there's little channels of this allows the air to go through, and these are plugged for shipping, so you can install it. Eventually, you will be taking these out. We're going to be doing this next. These are for refilling, but before you take this off, if you look, these channels are full of ink, and there is pressure in these tanks, just air pressure from being at a different altitude. So sometimes you're going to take these off and the ink is going to come rising up. We don't want any mess here, so here's one of the things. You tip this forward and allow this ink to drain into the main reservoir. So the small channel in the back stays empty as much as possible. Okay, so if you can see, I don't know how well you can see, but the ink that is in these channels now is a lot less. So that way when we take off these plugs, we are not going to have a giant mess on our hands. Okay, I had to grab some paper towels. Just wanted to make sure I'm not making a mess here. So we'll put a couple underneath just in case it runs down. Then I'll have one to put these plugs on. And if you ever move or relocate or whatever, I mean, you could just put some tape across here. But I hang on to these plugs just in case I want to plug it back up. So what we'll do is we'll just ease it out just like that, and as you can see there's ink on here. Let's see. Yeah, so I automatically already got some on, and I was trying to be really careful. So, like I said, if you have gloves, wear them, unless you want rainbow hands. And the level of ink did rise, so, on these channels in the back. Okay. There's nothing really on that one. Okay, so now you don't really have to put these in. Some of these don't fit so well. As you can see, there's kind of a, they're both tapered, but this one has kind of a step, like a notch. That's the side that goes in, and it just fits right in that hole. Some of them seat nicely. This one's not seating. If you know what I mean, it's like kind of fitting inside. Let's see if, yeah. So they just kind of stay there and prevent dirt from getting in. But I know you don't need them. I actually called because I had a problem with one. I kind of crammed it in and it didn't fit and it bent and kind of broke. So I called them asking if they had replacements, and he said, oh, you don't really even need them. And so one of mine doesn't have it on. But they kind of wedge in. Okay, that's the last one. And I didn't spill any this time. Ink was everywhere the first time I did this. Okay, so let's get back to this here. We'll put this to the side. We will realign this here. Now, if you have a wide format printer, you are going to be dealing with a very wide expanse of ink tubing, if you will, whatever we want to call this. This printer is not wide because we're really only dealing, let me zoom out, we're only really dealing with an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So basically what you want to do is accommodate for the print head to travel its full span. So you push it all the way to the right, and you just kind of take note of how far it goes, and then you push it all the way to the left, and you just want to make sure that there's enough ribbon or ink tubing to travel the whole distance. So yeah, we got that there. And then what we're going to do is just clamp this down. We'll be using these. Now these can rise up or lift up the print cover. So your printer may have a switch that says, oh, we can't print, your cover's open. This one does not have that. If yours does, then you can disable it. Usually there's a little plastic notch like somewhere on the lid, or it might be down by the hinges. And you'll want to put some tape or shove some paper down there if it's disengaging or telling you it can't print. But this one doesn't have that problem. The Epson R260 does not have that problem. And so what we're going to do, I'll go ahead and take my gloves off. So what we're going to do is basically put this here and set the amount of tubing length. if it's too much, then the tubing will go down and scrape down here, even drag across your print, or kind of get tangled up. And if it's not enough, it's going to be putting stress and it's going to yank this, and then you're going to have a problem. So let's see, I want to align it with where these are placed. So the tubes are kind of fed through there, so I'll just put this right here. Okay, and then I'll push it this way. So we're going to be having the ink cartridge on the left side of the printer. And then we'll feed this in here. So I got that. Now let's push it this way. Okay, so it goes both ways just fine. Okay, so while it's printing, you may hear tapping. You might want to just look while it's printing, make sure this isn't getting scratched or getting in the way anywhere. But other than that, you should be fine. Then we'll just go ahead and close the lid. It is lifting it up just slightly, but it's not that big of a deal. We'll plug the printer back in. Put this, let's see, it was right there. I like to keep it there. I think it recalibrates itself, but I'm never totally positive. So this is where we started with the print head and carriage, so we will finish with it there. Go ahead and turn the printer on. Okay, so it's set. It didn't give us any ink warning, so this is ready to print. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about installing your CIS system, you can ask me a question in the comments below. If you want more videos like this, then click the subscribe button. And if this helped you save money or whatever, you can support this channel by going to the About page and clicking support. You can donate anything from $1 on up. So we really appreciate it. It helps us be able to make more videos like this. I do have some other videos of installing these in different printers, different Epson printers. So if you're installing these on multiples, you can take a look at those. But hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.